Kind of look back and assess that game, the first half, between the first half and the second half. What was different for your defense in the two halves?
We I can't remember the number offhand. I think they had 7 drives. I think they had 13 drives. 6 of the 13 were three and outs. So 6 of the 13 total were three and outs. So, you know, Blue makes a play. Blue made that play, which was a hell of a play, right? And then, you know, they make the play right before halftime. But what I told him at the halftime was, hey, look, man, this is the deal. If they can't score, right, on a chunk, they ain't scoring because they're going to self destruct before they get to the end zone anyway. So let's just keep the ball inside and in front and not give them chunks.
Ron, early thoughts on Virginia's offense. Obviously,
They're,
their quarterback Chandler Morris had a big game, just running and passing wise.
they're tough. I think they're physically tough. I think they're mentally tough. If you look at the roster, they've got a lot of experience. The backs run downhill. You got to strap it up. I mean, these next 2 games, you got to strap it up and you got to strike somebody because they're going to run right over the top of you if you don't. And you better grab. Uh, you know, their O line coach was a RGA at Michigan years ago. So Terry Hefkin coach, he's a good coach. They block movement well. The quarterbacks, he can run. Uh, I like his arm talent. I think he will throw you the ball, but I like his arm talent. Uh, but I mean, they got a good team. They got a good team, and I think they're tough mentally.
Ron, can you talk about the impact, the immediate impact of the guys on that second level in TJ and Antonio with their interceptions and how impactful that was for you guys?
I like the what we catch. I like the 3 we caught. I wish we would have caught the 3 we dropped. They did a good job of looking the ball in and catching the ball. I thought both of them. Like if you look at Antonio's, like I slowed it down and showed it by frame yesterday. Just that his eyes went from here to here to here to here. So we always preach look the ball into the tuck, and I thought he did that with his eyes. And I thought that the one TJ made, particularly I believe at the end where he had to go up and get it, he did a nice job looking the ball into the tuck.
You talked about the offense of Virginia, specifically about Morris. What is it with him? What have you seen? And is there anybody that you've thought he kind of reminds me of this guy?
No, I just think like you can watch a team on tape and kind of. I just think they're a tough football team mentally and physically. I think he's very competitive. I think he can burst and run, and I think he's a little stouter and harder to tackle than the kid they had the last 2 years with just as much speed. Uh, so I like him. I just think this is a tough football team, and I think we're gonna have to strap it up. I mean, we're gonna have to get after them to to play well. We're gonna have to physically show up to play well on Saturday.
TJ Quinn's been kind of the leading tackler the last couple of years and has played well. He's getting a lot of the snaps, or was getting a lot of snaps. With Stanquan going down, what have you seen with Caleb and with TJ Capers? It was almost split a little the other day, but how do you kind of assess what both of those guys have done without Stanquan in there?
I think they're both getting better. I think they both need to play, and I think the more they play, the better they'll get. But I think they're both getting better. I think they want to. I think we've gotten a better. Our staff is now going into 3 years here, so I think we're doing a better job that way. Um, but I think they're getting better. I think they're getting better, and I was pleased with if you really watch us play. I was just pleased with the overall communication, and you can see it not only verbally but with the hand signals and all that stuff. And so, uh, Caleb has done that a few times. We joke about Capers because he has this voice on the field that's kind of different, but that's what I like about him. That they're just getting more comfortable playing and more secure communicating.
And obviously, passing defense was a concern just in the way that defending it. How much better do you feel like you guys are? How much more do you feel like you have to improve when it comes to defending against the pass?
I think we have to improve on everything to get to where we want to go. Um, so, you know, I just think we have to improve on everything. But I think that we are getting better at a lot of things. I think the players kind of understand the package for the most part. And now the rest of the way, it's going to be about making one-on-one plays. Like, Blue made that play, we didn't make the play. So, I mean, it's about making one-on-one plays when you play at the highest level, when you play in these games that you're playing against really good players.
A lot of it starts up front. Obviously, always does. Those guys have been really really good up front. You're rotating some, but not as maybe as much as you have the last couple of years. Do you like where that rotation is right now? And with Conga and Jordan in the middle, it kind of starts with them, doesn't it?
Well, quite frankly, it starts with Clev. And the reason it starts with Clev is because of his motor. So until they play like as hard as he plays, it starts with Clev. I mean, that's to me that's sports. The guys who play the hardest and the fastest. Uh, I think last game it kind of the rotation happened that way because of they were getting on the ball and they weren't really allowing you to sub, and although they weren't snapping it fast all the time, they were on the ball. So we couldn't rotate like we would like to. But up front you got to keep them fresh because once that battery is dead, it's dead. I mean, they ain't recovering from that. So that kind of is what happened there. But we would, as you know, we would like to uh, have some balance as it pertains to the number of snaps for defensive linemen.
You mentioned a second ago how you want guys to continue working on one-on-one battles. Braun mentioned how he wants the defense to take a little bit of a step forward in terms of man defense. What do you think is the players need to adjust in order to get better at man? Is it a mental thing? Is it a physical thing with fundamentals? I think they need to improve on to get better in man defense.
I would not say we're not. I would not say that. Oh, we got to get better in man. First off, I haven't charted it, but I think we can cover guys. Now the game might dictate me not calling as much man because of the scheme or whatever, or I might say, hey, I don't want this guy to see body on body. I want him to have to figure out the coverage like last week and have to throw in the zones. So, they get to let's just talk about, and it's interesting, I haven't charted the number, but they had like something like 230 some odd yards passing, right? Well, they probably had close to 100 on 2 plays, right? So the guy was throwing in the zone all day, and he wasn't highly effective throwing in the zone. In fact, I think his completion percentage was probably in the low 50s. Am I right on that? Right. So it was not a game that dictated me calling man. Or let's say they're running the quarterback. I might might want to be in zone and have some vision and not call man. I personally think we can cover, but I don't think that we are always going to be in man coverage when when the situation dictates that we play with vision, so to speak. So that's not why we haven't been in more man. It's just the overall situation. But I think you're talking to a long-time coach who really started as a corners coach, really started. Man coverage comes down to discipline and toughness. So when people say a corner, oh, the corner's not very tough. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Because the mental capacity it takes to be able to execute technique after getting beat, or you're playing against some guy who could really, really run, or that's mental toughness, man. So to be good at covering people, you got to understand leverage and you got to maintain it, and you got to be disciplined. And when that object is moving, you can't move with your eyes. Your eyes have to be seared in to whatever you're seared into. So there are a lot of things that go into it. I think confidence is a part of it as well when you talk about teaching man coverage. But it really starts with discipline and understanding leverage. And once you understand, you don't have to make the play on every route. That's not what we're asking you to do. But these are the routes we're asking you to make the plays on. And once they get that, they can become good man players.
Rocco, one more. You mentioned Clev. I asked him a few weeks ago, what has made his transition so easy. He said because he's a baller. But from a coach's perspective, what do you feel like has made it so easy for him to kind of settle into the system and be able to be that leader on the line?
Well, he's got a motor, and I think in life, I mean, it could be you guys in your jobs. I mean, if you got a motor, if you're at night thinking about it all night, or if you're getting up early in the morning, or if you're, you know what I'm saying, or if you're trying to get better at home or whatever, then you're going to probably have success at what you do. So Clev, I don't ever have to get on him about getting to the football ever. I don't have to get on him about his energy level. I don't have to get on him about his intensity or his intent, meaning when he goes to practice, what are you trying to get better at? Like, what is your intent? Why are you out here today? So, to me, I just, I like people who display those qualities. They show great effort. They show a great desire to be good at what they do. And they do it consistently. And this guy has also been a tremendous leader. Now, he's a mature, but he's been a tremendous leader since he's been here. And so we're fortunate to have him. Thank you.